when Jose Luis suggested we do a creative project, we had this idea of a multi-composer descriptive soundscape that would have episodic things that the kids could paint with their sounds. What we did was decided to create what's like film music or leitmotivic music that's similar to perhaps Wagner or to Strauss, in the way that it would evoke and paint pictures and narrate action through rhythms and themes and orchestration. So we decided on these mythical creatures because we could sort of travel around the world a little bit. And the first one we chose was the Madre Monte, the Mother Nature spirit of the Colombian woods. And Madison was in charge of that theme, and she created a theme that was really beautiful and majestic, but also showed how dangerous Madre Monte could be if you were destructive of her forest or creatures. Next, we had Patrick, who was telling the story of the Hugag. And this was one of these Pacific Northwest legends that the old timers used to use to haze the new loggers or the new furriers when they first arrived in camp. They'd say, watch out for that Hugag. It's this moose with no knees, and he gets hungry and he gets tired, and he just lumbers around, but he might lean on your cabin at night while you're sleeping and knock it over. He's not mean, but boy, he gets tired and cranky. Another North Woods animal is the hide behind. And Giovanni helped us out by creating some really cool, low, growling, menacing sounds that would sound like a bear running from tree to tree, sort of stalking you, then getting very skinny and hiding behind the tree. As soon as you turn your head, it vanishes. And this was a series of stories. It's almost like Canterbury Tales, like people hiking together on a trail. And first Madison tells her story, then Patrick brings up his story, and then Giovanni tells his story. And then next, Tim chimes in and talks about Australia. And from Australia, he tells of the hoop snake, which can grab its sort of tail in its mouth and roll across the outback desert and chase after you at a really fast speed. So he created some snaking, sort of surly themes that got faster and faster and sounded dangerous. And then Cameron responds to that, and Cameron wrote about the drop bear. And the drop bears, apparently, they tell this to the tourists in Australia, look just like koala bears. They're very cute, and they're hanging out up there nibbling on leaves, but they're sort of fake nibbling on the leaves. And the tourists might stand beneath and hold their camera up, and just then this carnivorous koala lookalike drops on them and has lunch. And the last one was a trip to Africa. Kevin painted this musical picture of the majestic and beautiful impundulu, which is this lightning bird. And there's sort of an African creation legend that talks about, the lightning and the thunder, and how this bird will, lay its eggs under a lightning strike in the sand, which would sort of explain the glass beads that they would find after a lightning strike. But that music is soaring and beautiful, but it's also got this sort of menacing thunder in the background. And then at the end of this, Jose Luis Dominguez did this wonderful thing, and it was a lot like the end of Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. He took these different themes from these different composers and animals, and he layers them together in sort of a fugue, almost like a heated discussion on the trail or at the campfire about whose animal was the most powerful or the most dangerous or the most interesting. And then the piece is over before you know it. But it's such a pleasure to hear this and to have worked on this music. And I really can't wait to hear a live performance of this with acoustical instruments. We really have Jose Luis to thank for taking our scattered and various ideas and fragments and really putting them in a beautiful instrumentation and harmonic context for us. That was a really neat thing. And I'm glad the kids got to be part of that and have helped with cooking this meal, but they also get to sort of see what that next level looks like when an expert takes their themes and really shows off. So I appreciate that. And these kids are smart enough to get what that means.